A 7-year-old starved in a closet. An 8-year-old vanished without a trace. One mother. 2 unimaginable crimes. The truth is darker than you can imagine. The case of Virginia Gonzalez began as a disturbing child abuse investigation, but it quickly grew into something far darker. Authorities in Austin, Texas, were already monitoring Gonzalez after allegations surfaced that she had locked her 7-year-old daughter inside a closet for weeks. What they found would shock even seasoned investigators. The child was discovered severely malnourished, weighing just 29 pounds, far below what is normal for her age. Doctors later confirmed that prolonged starvation had caused permanent brain damage, injuries the girl would carry for the rest of her life. This was no longer an allegation, it was a confirmed case of extreme abuse. As the investigation unfolded, police realized this story went beyond one victim. Gonzalez, a mother of at least 7 children, had been living a seemingly carefree life, posting videos of herself partying, while her children lived in silence and neglect. Then came a chilling revelation: there was another child. An 8th daughter had vanished years earlier, and no one had ever reported her missing. On August 3, 2025, Austin police were called to an apartment on Ross Road after receiving a troubling 911 call. The caller was the children's grandmother. She told dispatchers that her daughter, Virginia Gonzalez, had been arrested earlier that morning, and what she discovered inside the apartment terrified her. When the grandmother entered one of the bedrooms, she found her 7-year-old granddaughter locked inside a closet. The 2 closet doors were tied shut with a charging cable, and a large plastic storage bin had been pushed against them, making escape nearly impossible. Inside the apartment were 7 children, ranging in age from 14 down to just 2 years old. The children told their grandmother that their mother had locked the girl inside the closet because she had trouble controlling her bladder and was always getting into things. Investigators quickly realized this wasn't discipline, it was prolonged confinement. And the condition of the child told a horrifying story of what she had endured inside that dark space. When paramedics and doctors examined the 7-year-old girl, the reality of her suffering became undeniable. At 7 years old, she weighed just 29 pounds, the weight of a toddler. Dark spots covered parts of her body, clear signs of severe malnutrition. Medical staff documented that the child repeatedly said, "My bones hurt," a heartbreaking reflection of what starvation had done to her body. Doctors noted a profound loss of fat tissue and, more alarmingly, moderate to severe cerebral atrophy. The damage to her brain was the result of prolonged deprivation and would never fully heal. Investigators believe the girl had been locked in the closet for at least 3 weeks, possibly longer. According to her siblings, she was only allowed a hot dog or corn dog in the morning and again at night, along with half a cup of water. Meanwhile, the refrigerator was fully stocked with food. This was not neglect due to poverty. It was deliberate cruelty. As investigators continued their work, they began speaking with the other children in the apartment. What they heard only deepened the horror. The siblings described a routine of fear and control inside the home. They said their mother forced the older children to clean the closet after the 7-year-old was forced to relieve herself inside it, because she was not allowed to leave. The children explained that their sister lived, ate, and slept in that confined space. She was only let out briefly, if at all. Despite the cruelty, the children complied, out of fear, conditioning, and survival. The grandmother told police that Virginia Gonzalez never showed affection toward the victim and treated her differently than the others. Investigators began to see a disturbing pattern of targeted abuse. Then another detail raised serious alarms. None of the children had ever been enrolled in school. There were no school records, no teachers, and no mandated reporters who had ever seen them. The system had never seen these children. And that silence allowed something far worse to stay hidden for years. While investigating the abuse case, detectives made a discovery that stunned everyone involved. Virginia Gonzalez didn't just have 7 children in the apartment. She had an 8th child, one who was nowhere to be found. That child was Ava Marie Gonzalez. Police learned that Ava was last seen in December 2017, when she was just 2 years old and still in her mother's custody. Shockingly, Ava had never been reported missing. Authorities didn't even know she existed until they uncovered her name during the abuse investigation. There were no school records, no medical visits, and no official documents showing Ava's life after 2017. For years, she had simply vanished without triggering a single alarm. Given the condition in which Ava's 7-year-old sister was found, Detectives immediately feared the worst. Missing persons investigators stated they were deeply concerned for Ava's safety. What began as a child abuse case was now expanding into something far more serious. A child had disappeared, and time was running out to uncover the truth. As detectives searched for Ava Marie Gonzalez, they encountered a trail of conflicting stories. Child Protective Services had been told in 2023 that Ava was living with her father. That claim appeared in official paperwork, until investigators questioned the grandmother whose signature was on the document. She denied signing it and said the phone number listed wasn't hers. Police then spoke with a former boyfriend of Virginia Gonzalez. He claimed Virginia told him Ava was not even her child, but her sister's, and that the girl was living with relatives. He also said Virginia described Ava as sickly and malnourished. Medical records quickly dismantled that story. Ava had been born full-term, healthy, and without complications. Another version came from Ava's alleged father in Mexico, who said Virginia told him Ava was living with a family in San Antonio and that he never had custody. Each explanation contradicted the last. And with every lie uncovered, investigators grew more convinced that Ava's disappearance was not accidental, it was intentional. The most haunting account came from someone who had been there all along, Ava's older brother. Now 14 years old, he was just 6 when his sister was last seen. During a forensic interview, he shared a memory that investigators say may be the key to the entire case. He told detectives that they were staying in a motel when he heard Ava screaming really bad from the bathroom. He said he saw his mother violently assaulting Ava in the bathtub while the water was running. Then, suddenly, the water stopped, and so did the screams. According to the boy, his mother later dressed Ava and placed her into a car seat. Ava appeared to be asleep. Virginia then told him that Ava was going to live with a new mom and dad. He never saw his sister again. The boy said something else that disturbed investigators deeply. After that day, his mother seemed happier, like a completely different person. To police, this wasn't just a memory. It sounded like a confession without words. Based on the brother's account and the growing list of contradictions, Austin police took a major step forward. Investigators filed a search warrant officially labeling the case a murder investigation. According to court documents, detectives believe Ava Marie Gonzalez may have died on or around January 2, 2018. Despite this belief, Virginia Gonzalez had not yet been charged in connection with Ava's disappearance. Prosecutors were still building their case, knowing that murder cases without a body are among the most difficult to prove. However, law enforcement emphasized that a body is not legally required for a murder charge. Witness testimony, false statements, and circumstantial evidence can be enough, especially when those pieces form a consistent narrative. The timing of this development was critical. News of the murder investigation surfaced just days before Gonzalez was scheduled to stand trial for the abuse of her 7-year-old daughter. And suddenly, the pressure on her defense team intensified. The walls were closing in. Virginia Gonzalez was scheduled to go on trial on January 26 for the abuse of her 7-year-old daughter. Prosecutors had strong evidence, including medical records, witness statements from her other children, and graphic documentation of the girl's condition. A jury trial carried the risk of an extremely long sentence. Earlier, Gonzalez had rejected a plea deal that would have sent her to prison for 40 years. Her attorney even called that offer excessive. But after news broke that police were actively pursuing a murder investigation into Ava's disappearance, Gonzalez's legal strategy shifted. Within days, she accepted a new plea deal. Gonzalez pleaded guilty to 2 counts of injury to a child with intent. The agreement sentenced her to 25 years in Texas State Prison. Under state law, she will be eligible for parole after serving half of that time. Her attorney claimed she accepted the deal to avoid forcing her children to testify. Prosecutors, however, saw it as a way to secure justice without further traumatizing the victims. But this plea only closed one case. Another remained wide open. With the plea deal finalized, Virginia Gonzalez will spend decades behind bars for the abuse that left her 7-year-old daughter permanently injured. But for investigators, this case is far from finished. The disappearance of Ava Marie Gonzalez remains one of the most disturbing unanswered questions. Police believe Ava may have been killed in 2018, and the investigation is now being treated as a potential capital murder case. If charges are filed and prosecutors secure a conviction, Gonzalez could face life without parole, or even the death penalty under Texas law. For now, Ava has no grave, no confirmed cause of death, and no justice. What remains are memories, contradictions, and the testimony of a brother who never forgot what he heard and saw that day. This case exposes not only the darkness of one individual, but also the gaps that allowed children to disappear without notice. A child was hidden. A child was lost. And for years, no one knew. Until one closet door was finally opened. And when it was, it revealed far more than anyone was prepared to face.